the same as all my other heroes, you know. But welcome to our 219th meeting of Thinking Out Loud with Friends. I am happy to be here right now. Happy, I tell you, to be here right now. I don't understand why I can't see myself, but oh well, that's life in the big city. Maybe if I do it this way, I will be able. There you go. Now I can see myself. And so, anyway, welcome to Thinking Out Loud with Friends. It's a wonderful experience to be here with you guys. I love it. And thanks for coming. And today, everything you hear today will be an opinion. So let's keep going. Now, Wayne, you were saying before I so rudely interrupted you.
Saying that I was watching YouTube with Barry Manilow, and I saw someone, it was in the audience somewhere, and I think it was in Chicago. Is there an all-state center? Anyway, it was, it had it written there, but I was watching Kenny Newman in work, and the concert was great. And it was just either a phone footage or but Kenny Newman, the whole center of the audio section was featuring on the for a little while from behind.
Yeah.
So I was quite pleased to watch that.
Oh, very nice. Now, what were they streaming it live, or what were you?
Oh no, it was a piece of recorded, and it was certainly it's a slick band. Yeah, and Barry Manilow at 81 is just fantastic, and I think
so it was
great.
An audio. It was an audience recorded.
Yeah, audience recorded.
Yeah.
Oh, very interesting.
I mean, it was quite up the back of but it was a big room.
Yeah, they're doing arenas,
and
they're selling out, which is I'm happy for Barry. I mean, it's a big tour. They're carrying all their own production with them. I didn't realize that either. I didn't realize how big the tour was. They got 5 buses, I think, 4 or 5 buses that they're doing. And the interesting thing is, it's a road tour. They're going from city to city.
Yes, I looked up the dates and I thought, wow, that'll be keeping Ken busy and everyone busy. And that's a wonder.
Well, his house gets rebuilt.
Yeah, I think his house is done now. I actually think his house is done now. So yeah, but it's interesting that Manilow is working as hard, and Manilow loves it. He just loves it.
You can
what
see
Kenny
that.
tells me is that he lives for that. And it's not just for the shows itself. He loves rehearsing. He just loves rehearsing. He loves playing music, and that's, to be that age and to love what you do, to continue to do it, and people appreciate what you're doing, and people come to see it. So.
Well, they're appreciating it.
Yeah, I don't know what the name of the tour is.
The last. Oh no, I can't remember now.
This could be the last time. I don't know. Stealing the name from the Stones. This could be the last tour.
I don't think he's this. I watched a little documentary. I don't think he's. And Kenny Newman would know, but I don't think he's stopping. I think he just wants to stop doing long tours, which at 81. I suppose even when you love it, your body starts to.
Yep.
My body's starting to wear out at 64.
Well, trick to longevity. You mentioned something when we were off the air, and you said to me a lot of Americans look a lot younger than they really are. Which I'm an example of. I'm 73, and everybody thinks I'm 72. So it's amazing, when people ask me how old I am, they say, "Hey,
you don't look a day over 71."
That's exactly right. I don't look a day over 71, But the reality is that I look really good for my age, and I know it because I'm playing pickleball with so many people that I think they're older than me. But when we sit down and talk, I find out that they're 10, 15, 20 years younger than me, and I thought that they were older than me. So here's the trick to longevity in regards. Get born to parents that have good genes. That's what I would say. That's your number one. The other thing is start exercising early. And I mean, so when I was in my 30s, I didn't even know what a gym was. I only thought that gyms were in schools, where it was one of those things that you would go to school and to get out of studying, you could go to gym, and you climb up a rope, or you would play dodgeball, whatever you do in the gym. But I didn't realize there were professional gyms that you could go to. But my ex-wife was a gym rat, and she got me into it. And by going to the gym every day, at when I'm in my 30s on, from that moment on, it really helped my body and kept me young, I feel. Also, doing a lot of drugs. I think that's another good thing. More drugs you do, I mean, and I'm not talking about, like the off the shelf Tylenol. I'm talking about, the heavy duty cocaine, heroin, fentanyl, anything like that to freeze your body. That's a good, I joke, of course. And remember, everything that you hear today is an opinion, so do your own research, Don't take my word for it.
It could be
My
bad
God.
for your health. It'd be bad for your health, Jan, if you end up in jail. It could be bad for your health.
Yeah, but you got to look at Mick Jagger right now out there doing a 2.5 hour show.
I know. I think there's lots of performers that you could look at that you get amazed at how fit they are in their in their late 70s, where other people that have been
they're in their middle 80s.
Yeah, yes, I mean, look at Manilow. Manilow's a great example. Mick Jagger is a great example. Who would have thought Keith Richards would still be alive today? Who? Come on, anyone in the room? Anyone? I mean, I read his book Life. It was about that thick, and of course, he talks about the reason he called it Life is because he's lived many lives. Because when he was in his 20s, he never slept. He wouldn't sleep. He would just, be so high on cocaine, that he couldn't sleep. And so he called the book Life. But the reality is you look at a guy like Mick Jagger, and 81 years old, and then of course you see, because he exercised, he kept himself in shape, and he had good genes, he looks good. And then you look at a guy like Joe Biden, 81, the same age, you can't imagine him doing a 10-minute show on a rock and roll show. Of course, that wasn't what his life was about. And but the reality is everybody ages differently. That's my point. Everybody ages differently. You look amazingly good, Wayne, for 70. I'll tell you, not you don't look a day over 65. And so that's it,
Well, I'm nearly 64.
That's it.
A week to go and I'm 64.
There we go.
Well, I won't. Just to quote the Beatles, I won't need you or feed you at 64. Don't worry about it. I mean, when you think about it now, the Beatles, their songs are now 60 years old, and they seem like, they still seem fresh. All right. Speaking of the Beatles, did you guys see the Olympics opening game ceremonies?
Yeah,
I did live.
All right. Well, first of all, you can't be in the production business if you didn't see the opening Olympics. They're on YouTube, so you can Google it, and watch it. But they were spectacular, absolutely spectacular. From the production standpoint of view, amazing. Was it you who told me that the one thing that, talking about the Beatles, there was these two people floating down the Seine River playing a piano. The piano was on fire, and the woman was singing Imagine. Did you guys see that?
Yeah.
That brought tears to my eyes. After just thinking about it, her voice and the piano were amazing together, and it moved me, listening to the words.
If you watch that, though, Jan, from a production standpoint, the flames almost got out of control because of the wind and the rain. That was just before all the rain started really pouring. And, in their spot where they're supposed to be during that song, huge gusts of wind, and those flames were just moving back and forth. And both of the artists were leaning back and getting out of the way of that. That was, boy, I tell you what, I would have loved to have been on the comms for that.
Yeah, I mean, they had the comm system, the RF in that city during the opening game, the opening ceremony, must have been off the hook. How many comms they had? It was like the whole city was the opening ceremony. It was every. It was a postcard from Paris. I mean, that's really what it was. This is a city you have to see if you've never seen it. And I had never had the desire to go to France until watching the Olympics opening ceremonies and to see how beautiful. I had no idea of the buildings that were along the Seine River. I had no idea.
Yep.
Well, you talk about the RF. Keep in mind that these places were pretty far apart, as opposed to being in one stadium. So it was actually a whole lot easier for RF than it would have been like in Tokyo or in Beijing or any of the other ones.
That's true. That's true. But still, just the lengths involved. Can you imagine all the fiber? And can you imagine the engineers the day before? Somebody had the bright idea, hey, let's cripple the railroad network by burning fiber optic cables. So and that, can you imagine all the engineers going, oh my God, now we got to worry about sabotage on our broadcast fiber.
That didn't happen though, did it?
No.
Did that?
No, but
no, it's been flawless. The games have been flawless. The French have really done an amazing job, and it's amazing to me that people could find criticism in it.
Yeah.
But I guess you could find criticism in anything,
Yep.
I mean, the fact, like, for example, one of the things, I thought it was a little dramatic, the Marie Antoinette segment, where they went from with the painting of Marie Antoinette with her head cut off, and then going into, Les Miserables, which was also impressive as well, the way they did the theater. Also, the little guy, whoever it was, that was in that like fencing costume, you could never tell who it was, carrying the torch into various different aspects and elements of France. I realized one thing, though, it wasn't the same guy. If you look at it closely, you'll see, if you look at his hands, in one hand, it was a black person, in another scene, it was a white person. So it had to be different people, or it was Michael Jackson come back. I don't know. It could have been one or the other, but
I thought it was
remember,
a
everything
production.
here is an opinion. Okay, there you go.
It was
a brilliant production.
I saw a little bit of it, but I was just thinking that while it was raining, and it was raining, it must be a nightmare for the audio and lighting and everyone, to be quite honest. Because you always prepare for rain a little bit. You just could not prepare for some sort of rain going on. It
was lucky that there wasn't any thunder, lightning. Can you bet? That would have stopped everything. I mean, you're out on a boat in the middle of a river with holding a aluminum torch, lightning rod.
Or the flags. The flags were the highest.
Yeah.
And the other thing I loved about it is the fact is that it was on the boats. They weren't the athletes weren't walking, and the boats. But it's amazing how many Olympiads are from America. I mean, wow. I think that's the biggest contingent there. But it's just a beautiful event, and of course Simone Biles. Have you seen any of her?
Oh yeah.
Have you seen? My God, talk about perfection. I mean, if there is such a thing as perfection, she is the epitome of it, really, it's like, I remember I was taking an acting class, and my teacher wanted us all to go to Las Vegas to go see a Cirque show. And the reason he wanted us to see Cirque is to show how the human being, the bodies can be perfected to move with art and become art itself. And Simone Biles, and the whole American team, the athletes are amazing. There is what's his name? I think his name is Ferdinand, the male Olympic athlete who does the rings. I mean, whoa, impossible how good this guy is. I forgot his name. Great smile, but the perfection. And I was explaining it to Bo, that it's these people have dedicated their lives to perfect their craft. It's not like where they wake up and say, all right, today I'm going to the Olympics. They plan, they train again. They even do more training. Sometimes they take a bus, sometimes they take a plane, but they're on the train all the time, training. And then it's not only the physicalness, it's the mental aspect of what they have to focus on. It's all in your mind. There was a picture from, and I'll find it right now while I talk, that from the Olympics. It was a couple of years ago. And I saved this picture because it really blew my mind. It really blew my mind on the perfection of what somebody could be and how close these people are. Unlike that Mershon guy in the swimming, did you see it? I mean, he was beating people by full, pool lengths, and that's
or today there was Ledecky today. She
I
almost
didn't see that. Tell me what happened.
Oh, she won the 1500 meter by she set an Olympic record. She almost lapped one of the contestants. It was incredible.
Was that Ledecky in 18 seconds?
Yeah. She beat some the second place was 18 seconds behind her or something ridiculous like that. Yeah. It was that person unbelievable, and that's that it's her fourth Olympics. That's 16 years. Or well, no, there was COVID, so that's 14 years of training at that high of a level.
Does anyone know the gold medal count? I think Australians have got a few golds.
Yep, they do.
Oh, the Australians are there?
I think one of... I'm pretty sure they are. Yeah, I think the canoeing one, what do you call it? I think that one, I think they got a gold there, the girls.
Sculls?
Yeah. There's a huge rivalry between the U.S. and the U.S. and Australian swimmers.
Oh, I think.
Oh yeah. So yeah, that's been going on for quite a few years. So that's.
Do they have basketball in that over there? Because the Americans would be the leaders in that, wouldn't they?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They got LeBron James as the captain of the team. So, yeah. Although, there's some good international basketball players. So.
Oh yes, I reckon they would be.
Oh yeah, because a lot of these international basketball players are now playing in the American League, here in the United States.
And the NBA. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but I can't find the picture, but it was a picture of the scull boats. And the winner was 1/10 of 1 second. 1/10 of 1 second. And what I realized at that point in time is the guy that won that race at that moment in time, everybody knew his name, but not everybody knew the guy that came in 1/10 of 1 second behind him.
Right.
And that's the difference. Hi, Kurt. How you doing, buddy?
If he'd gone to Cheers, then everybody would have known his name.
That's right. If he would have went there. I've been watching some Cheers on YouTube. It was a funny show. I mean, it was a funny show.
They had great writers.
Yeah, they sure did.
I think anyone that gets to the Olympics, anyone that gets in the team has won, really, haven't they? In their field. Once you get to that level and you get to go to the Olympics, you've got a level of sportsmanship that's you've put the effort in and your ability and you do your thing. And then obviously the person that wins gets he's obviously the best on the day. And that's great.
Well, it's that moment in time that that the mind, the spirit, and the body all come together at one, and that's really what comes. I'm just saying. By the way, that was what I was calling the name of the show. Just saying.
Just saying. Just saying, Jerry.
Just saying. By the way, the reality right now is that the Olympics are drawing more viewers than I think this is the number one game in history of how many people watch the opening ceremonies.
Yeah.
Wow.
Entertainment is really becoming a thing.
Go figure. Who would have thought?
Go figure. So anyway,
well,
now
like three
so
years,
Dan, I think
11 months, and and 3 weeks from now, they're going to be in LA.
That who?
The Olympics.
So will I. Oh no, wait, that's
3 years from now, you might be.
Yeah, the TV ratings for the Paris Olympics were up 79% over the 2021 Tokyo Games, with an average of 34.5 million people watching over the first 3 days. And of course, I was talking about Simone Biles. She became, she now has more gold medals in gymnastics than anyone else in the history of the planet, I believe. So, do your own research. Your mileage may vary as like from last week.
So Jan, seeing you're a comedian, Jerry Springfield. Jerry Springfield.
Good segue. Go ahead. Yes.
Well, Jerry Springfield, I think, was touring in Australia. Is that correct?
Jerry Springfield, I think his name is Jerry Seinfeld.
That's the one?
Yeah, his humor will transcend all continents that speak English, because basically you could relate to what he's talking. He talks about everyday little things and how, he goes into the minutia of them and makes everybody laugh about
observational humor.
Yeah, but listen. Speaking of which, and I was negligent last week. I don't believe I mentioned it, but Bob Newhart passed away.
Yes.
He was 94 years old, and so may he rest in peace. But the entertainment world is doing really well. Like, for example, Deadpool and Wolverine right now. They've done over $200 million in U.S. ticket sales. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Well, it just came out, and it just came out, so it's that is very impressive that when it is, but nothing compared to like Taylor Swift. I mean, my God, this woman is breaking records and records and records after records. It's amazing how big Taylor Swift is. It's just unbelievable what she's doing.
It's a bigger market too nowadays, Jan, too, isn't it? There's more market.
I think so. I think her latest album, okay, listen to this. Swift's latest album out-earns the next top 10 LPs combined with a growth hacky sack strategy. 6 fortnights and counting, Taylor Swift's The Tortured Poets Department has been number one on the Billboard charts for a record-breaking 13 weeks straight as it's released 3 months ago. With sales and streaming, it's just dominating. She sold nearly 2.5 million copies of this record, or whatever it is. Yeah, I don't think it's records anymore. And with over a 500 million lead over Morgan Wallen's One Thing at a Time that's 500 million leads. That's insane how many people are listening to her music. It's crazy. Ticketmaster on a Live Nation saw sales growth 21% to a record quarter of $3.8 billion. So there are people going out to the movies, going out to concerts. So I think it's just it's more than impressive of what she's doing. Just more than impressive, And
it's good that people are interested in music.
Yep.
As entertainment.
Yeah. And I just read right now the second quarter of Live Nation's business. Now, that was just Taylor Swift, what I mentioned, what she was doing in billions of dollars of touring revenue. But in the whole concert industry, basically, in the whole concert and the whole, it's, where did I say? It, Live Nation's $6 billion in quarter two. That's $6 billion in a quarter of the year for concerts. So everybody here should be really busy if they want to work. I mean, David's working all the time. Kurt, how many shows are you doing a week now?
In the summer, between 3 and 6.
So people are working, but some areas of the country, the South Belt down there where it's hot and humid, they're not doing so well. The county fairs are drying up. People are not going because there's so much competition. You'll get a Kenny Chesney tour come in, or you'll get, or you'll get a George Strait tour, and there's only so much money that people could spend on concerts. So the competition is great. Hotel California, Dave, selling out everywhere they go, right?
Yeah, pretty much. Everywhere we go, there's a lot of people.
Yeah.
So and they're working, 3 days, 4 days a week sometimes.
Now, speaking of Hotel California, they have a gig in Baltimore, Maryland, right, at the Gordon Theater. Do you remember the date? I think it's September 29th, I believe, is the date.
I thought it might have been the 26th. I'll look it up.
Well,
while we're
remember,
talking.
do your own research. But if you want to see David and I, we'll be in Baltimore at the Gordon Theater at Hotel California. So if you want to see two old, dear, good friends who've known each other longer than time, David Dansky and Jan Landy will be together along with Hotel California at the Gordon Theater.
It's the 26th. 26.
Don't you forget that either, the 26th. I'm glad you told me that because I'd get there the 29th, and then it would only be David Dansky and Hotel California without Jan Landy at the show. So that's good.
I'll be in Pennsylvania.
I'll be in Pennsylvania. That's right. Or to quote W.C. Fields on his epitaph or his gravestone, all things considered, I'd rather be in Pennsylvania. That's it, Philadelphia.
Or Jan, to quote Maxwell Smart for you, missed it by that much.
Missed it by that much, yeah. So speaking of missing it by that much, did you hear about The Rock, Dwayne Johnson? So the Army invested $11 million in a campaign using Dwayne Johnson, The Rock. And it's a high dollar profile like they've never done before, right? And it turns out not only did it not have a positive effect, but recruitment dropped significantly because of this marketing campaign. And now they're thinking about asking for some of their money back from him.
Good luck.
So that's kind of interesting, don't you think?
Well, somebody got demoted in the in the USO department there. So
yeah. All right. Now here's another interesting tidbit of news that we could chat. So, as we all know, Princess Leia, Carrie Fisher, an interesting story. That the bikini that she wore with Jabba the Hutt, that scene of Jabba the Hutt, that in the Return of the Jedi, it just went on auction, and guess how much that bathing suit drew in?
Oh, over six figures, I believe.
It was six figures, $175,000 for that bathing suit. So pretty much amazing,
You sure you're gonna fit in it, Jan?
Oh well, I bought it. I bought it for Bo, and she will fit into it. So
yeah,
I'm very pleased with her.
No, actually, you will fit into it in one of Kurt's next artistic creations. So.
Oh yeah. So it's an interesting thing. So did you guys see? By the way, going back to the Olympics, did you see that picture of the Brazilian surfer?
Yes.
And that picture was not photoshopped. That was a legitimate picture. I mean, the guy does this after every one of his runs. He does that particular particular thing where he gets his hand up and he stands straight up and he, jumps off the board. But in this particular case, in the moment in time, there was 6 photographers on a boat watching these guys, and this one French guy happened to get that perfect shot where he would looked like he was standing on a cloud, and the board was standing up straight. It was just an amazing. He was shooting that at something like 6,000 frames a second that he was able to capture it without any blur on a rocking boat, and pretty amazing shot.
Yeah, it's probably the defining shot for the Olympics, they said.
Yeah, I think so. That and Celine with her arm up at the beginning at the opening ceremony.
Yeah.
The Celine Dion performance was off the hook good. I mean, she was more than breathtaking. The whole environment of being on the Eiffel Tower and performing that way, and it was just breathtaking to me. And her voice was really strong, considering the health problems that she's going through right now.
Yeah,
well, she's doing a residency.
No,
where? At the hospital?
Resorts World.
I'm not so sure that's happening. It might, but she had to cancel.
Resorts World announced it. It's going to be in the fall after F1.
Well, I wish her the best of luck, because I hate that, someone that talented, and she is very talented. I saw her show live in Las Vegas at the Coliseum when she was there, and it was very impressive. Her voice is so strong, and her presentation of songs really she's really an artist, a phenomenal artist. I'm not really a big fan of hers from a standpoint where I listen to Celine Dion music all day long, but I will tell you that she has got a spectacular stage persona, and she really captivates you when you're watching her live. She really is excellent. Excellent. Her voice is spectacular. Her range is pretty amazing. And you saw it in the Olympics. I mean, Lady Gaga's thing was really good as well, but that was nothing compared to Celine Dion.
Well, it was different. It was different. It was more theatrical than just a straight performance, piano vocal performance with backing tracks.
Yep,
so
that's it.
So
does anyone know what the lights were on the tower? The beam ones that they were using?
I don't know much about lighting.
I don't know, but there is a light called the synchro light, and it's very possible, and they're French, and so it's very possible that we use. They're very, very bright lights. They're outdoor beam lights. It could be called synchro lights. I'm not sure. Do your own research, but there is a light called the synchro light, and it's almost like you see like those ballyhoo lights in the sky, where what I'm talking about in a grand opening in a building. But those are probably a little bit different. But I would bet that I'll bet there were thousands of lumens. I mean, that's for sure. And there was a lot of laser as well, so it was pretty impressive. What they've done, what they did. Now, could somebody tell me, going back to the Olympics, when they lit the Olympic fire on that balloon, what's going on with that balloon? Is that balloon still up in the air?
They show it. Yeah, it's tethered, and I assume that they have to have some type of I assume that they have to have some type of fuel line for the flame going up the tether.
Well, I would think that's a very difficult thing to accomplish because of the wind.
Well, that's why it's on a tether. They can pull it down if the wind picks up.
They have a similar balloon like that. I'm not saying it's the same thing, but at Downtown Disney in Orlando, they have a huge balloon that looks it's not gold like that one, but it's the same type of construction. And, in the morning, whoop, it goes up. And then, when the place closes down, they bring it down to the ground. Mm-hmm. So, and they have a huge tether on it. It's like 2 feet in diameter, that tether. So.
I hear you. Well, thanks for bringing down the show. All right, I love it. Well, all right, let's go back. All right.
I
We
was
need a little.
answering Wayne's question. I was
All
answering
right.
Wayne's question.
Let's bring a little bit of more a little up tempo and love upbeat. I got some good news. In the month of June, there was recorded 4.1 billion robocalls in June in the United States. 4.1. So finally, the United States Congress is acting, and they are changing the law, and they are going to be enacting a new law to prevent robocalls. Now, of course, they could do this just with the carriers, and they could say, "Hey, carriers, stop doing robocalls," and cut them out. But they're not. But now they are putting an enforcement agency with teeth, with huge fines to crack down on these people with robocalls. And they're expecting that the robocall situation will now diminish significantly in the next few months. So that's some good news.
Seeing that it's political season, I got a feeling that they won't start cracking down until after November. Just me being cynical, because I'm getting way too many from all sorts of different point of views. Even though I got robocall and you name the app on my phone, it's Florida. And
they're not going to outlaw their own text messaging. That's all there is to it. You know how many text messages I woke up this morning, my phone was inundated with different text messages from different campaigns, because today is the last day, I guess, the last day of the quarter. And so, or the last day of the month, whatever, then they have these reporting fundraising so that they got to make their numbers. So when they report it, it looks good. So my phone is blowing up, it's blowing up from both the right side, the left side, the middle side, you name it, guys running for dog catcher. I got a text message from him, woof, woof, that's vote for me, give me some money, So
boy, I tell you what, David, that background looks awful nice. And that's a live background, isn't it?
Oh yeah, that's the real deal.
Yeah.
So I thought David was at a golf course, but this is somebody's house.
Yeah, my nephew's house.
Nice.
Yeah.
It's gorgeous. What part of the world is that in?
Columbia, South Carolina, the state capital.
Very nice.
The home of Lindsey Graham.
Thanks for bringing me down. There you go.
Is it 90% humidity?
What was that?
Is it 90% humidity right now?
Oh, it's incredible. I'm so not used to this. I love the West because it's dry and it's humid and there's mosquitoes and all the stuff I don't need.
Yeah. Well, you're welcome to Thailand. That's what it's like here all the time. Yeah. Welcome to Thailand. By the way, speaking of Thailand, we are getting ready. The countdown clock is 24 days from now. We will be in the United States. Bo and myself are heading to the United States, and we will be in Las Vegas. And we're starting the trip in Vegas. What?
You got your plane tickets already?
We are completely booked from everywhere, from all the way up until mid-October. And then I have to start planning, but it's too early for me to plan mid-October on. But we have to leave the United States before November 1st or apply for what they call an adjustment of status. And then if we do that, we're basically in the United States for too long. And I don't really want to live in the United States. I'm very happy here. The whole life aspect of living in Thailand is as good as it gets for me. It's just perfect. I mean, living in the United States does have its benefits, for sure. No doubt about it. Living in the United States has its benefits, and it's not a bad place to live, but Thailand, where I'm living, I've never experienced anything like this, where every day we have fresh vegetables that we go pick up at the local market.
No matter what time of the year, which is nice.
Yeah,
but Dan,
we
I don't think
yeah.
Thailand is on Taylor's tour agenda.
No, she
Nope.
passed by. They offered to pay her a lot of money to come here, but she's not. She opted not to come. She went to Singapore instead. And
Singapore had more money.
yeah, well, some of the richest people in the world are in
Singapore.
on Thailand, Bangkok. Bangkok
Yeah.
is pretty amazing. Oh, by the way, I did some research, Greg, and there is no Costco in Thailand. So
Huh.
if you want to
He,
start one here, I'm sure you can make a lot of money.
okay. All right.
You
Well,
want to open up your own Costco.
That's what Chris Parker told me. So
I think he might have said macro, MAKRO. Macro is
okay.
their facsimile to Costco, but there is nothing like Costco. Nothing
Right.
at all like Costco. I mean, if you've never been to a Costco, then you don't know what you're missing. Of course, if you've never, whatever it is you've never done before, you don't know what you're missing.
Mm-hmm.
If I said to you, in this cup is what was that?
What?
Isn't there a Chinese Costco like knockoff? Like they do the same thing?
Maybe, what do you think it would be called? Costco with a K?
No,
No.
I don't think they copied the logo, just the idea.
I thought that was pretty quick of me. Come up with that.
Yeah.
Just,
Yeah. No, that's
pat
the
myself
Russian
on the back
one.
of the head.
That's the Russian one. So,
Oh, okay. At the
Yeah.
Costco that you find at Hall A at Nam.
yeah. Yeah. So,
Huh. I think we stopped streaming. I think whatever it is, I think the streaming has stopped for whatever reason. It says like it's upcoming. I don't understand that, but I saw it streaming
well,
for a
we're
while.
still recording.
Yeah, we're still recording. So if that's the case, I'll just replace it. But because this is a good show. I mean, this is really a good show, even if I may say so myself.
Kurt, I did have a question for you. Is that venue in Bend, is that a Live Nation venue now?
Yep. It's one of the top 5 Live Nation venues in the country, they say.
Wow.
Hey, I think Josh Zimmerman's coming in. Hello, Josh. And he's in San Francisco. Look at that, ladies and gentlemen. Josh is coming to us live from San Francisco.
Actually, I wish I was in San Francisco. It'd probably be cooler there.
Well, it's funny, I wear a seatbelt too whenever I go to San Francisco, even when I'm sitting at a restaurant. That's about it.
Yeah, I'm driving. That's why. So.
Well, don't do me a favor. Stay safe, stay healthy, and don't pay attention to the screen. Shut the screen off. We can see you. You don't have to see us. Although we are very good-looking people, I admit. There's plenty of
And
visual
humble,
here.
right? Yeah.
Oh man, and we have a lot to be humble about. It's good.
Yeah.
It's right.
Josh, don't jump.
Oh, I won't
Yeah.
jump.
Yeah.
Yeah, here in Las Vegas, we're in Las Vegas. They built that the Patrick Tolman Bridge. I think it's Patrick Tolman Bridge, and people were jumping off of it, so they had to spend something like $3 million to put a steel curtain up underneath the bridge so people couldn't kill themselves and jump off the bridge.
They did that here in Seattle. There was a bridge that was kind of near Lake Union, and it was. They had to put fencing over the whole top so that people couldn't do it anymore.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean it's crazy, that I mean it's, well, I don't know why I don't know why people want to do that, but I can understand right now there is a lot of people that are going through therapy right now because of social media, and the peer pressure that they're under with social media. It's insane right now. I can't quite understand that, because I guess we grew up without social media. So it is something that we are looking from the outside in, whereas today the kids are inside out looking at it. They're already in it from the moment that they could think. I could see it with Bo, how Facebook is everything to her. I mean, she's on Facebook all day long, whenever she gets a chance. But for her, she only has 100 something people that she's following, and the only people that are following her are our family and friends. Whereas with me, I've got 5,000 followers, and I know hardly any of them. But they all know me for some reason. Somehow they know me. How is that possible?
Oh, Jan, I wanted to mention I saw an auction, and they're selling Lao consoles. It's an auction of the Washington D.C. RT, the Russian television network.
Yes.
They're auctioning off all their studio stuff. So,
well, good for them.
Yeah. Well, I just thought, sound brokers might want to, if you have a market for Lao consoles, I saw a ton of. They have 4 consoles and tons of spares.
And by Russian television network, you mean Fox?
No, RT television.
Anyway, listen, the one thing that I love about this particular show, and I've really made it pretty clear regarding that this is going to be non-political. We're going to keep this non-political, as best as humanly possible. I would love to do a political show as well, but then again, I think that at that point in time,
there's too many of those,
are driving. The tribes, it's very tribal now. I see it on my Facebook feed how tribal it is, whereas, people are posting things that you just can't believe that they're posting and why they're doing it. But basically they think they're, nobody thinks they're wrong. I remember reading a psychological book about how people react to other things and how they think. Like, for example, John Dillinger, when he was interviewed, even though he was a notorious murderer, he thought he was doing the right thing. He believed that he was actually doing the right thing. Just like while you're watching the Olympics at this point in time, you think you're doing the right thing, instead of paying attention to my
American
pearls of wisdom.
Fall, so
wow!
Man.
Didn't someone get hurt at the Olympics? In the American team, I didn't hear. I only heard bits and pieces of it.
Wow. No, it was one of the pommel horse guys on the overall team. He just fell. I didn't see it this afternoon live. They're showing the rebroadcast now. So
yeah. Somehow, by the way, speaking of, somehow our streaming stopped. I don't know how that happened, but I will talk to Restream about it. That's who I'm streaming with. I wanted to introduce my new software, by the way. It's called Ecamm, and we make this really more of a show. But I didn't know how many visitors we'd have today, how many guests, how many panelists, and so it only handles up to 8 people and myself. And I was afraid that we might have, more people than that. So I didn't, until I find out what happens to the overflow crowd, I didn't want to do anything about it. I didn't want to take a chance. But it is pretty good on what it is. Anyway, so Kurt, what's going on in your marketplace? What's happening over there? What's news and exciting?
There's a lot. I mean, everybody's slammed. It's very difficult to get enough people. People's always the problem, it seems. And, in our market, there's only 3.5, maybe 4 months of good weather. So it's tough to have enough inventory to do all the stuff then without having it sit too much in the winter.
Yeah.
So everybody needs everything for 3 or 4 months, and it's hard to cross rent. You have to work on it way in advance. And of course, none of the information comes from the tours or the promoters fast enough. But the main thing is just labor. It's like there just aren't that many people. And then in my area, there's no more art institute. None of the colleges have any kind of programs that I know anything about. So there's nothing funneling new, younger people into the market. I mean, there's plenty of guys that had Pro Tools in their mom's basement, and that, that's a thing, but there's kind of nowhere for them to go to get trained up like we did. And a lot of the younger guys don't really want to push boxes to the truck. They want to mix deadliner.
Mm-hmm.
Well, another thing you might try is you might start your own school and get the state development kind of the regional or county development people, because I have been offered, assistance, money, things to throw at opening up a school for people to train them on training. And it comes at in doll that's paid, stuff like that. You can make money on it, and you can get people together and get them to where you want them.
That's a great idea, especially because there's nothing like that here now.
But
once the Art Institute went under,
the state has been throwing money at it, so it ties in. They're tying it in with the, kind of some of the smaller 2-year schools, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Community colleges, they call them.
Yeah. There's a guy named Jim Bowles here in Las Vegas. He was the Harmon. He was the internal Harmon guy. Now he is has his own rep firm, and he every month he does a beer bash where he gets one of the manufacturers to supply the money for the beers for everybody at a local tavern, and he has all the contractors and everybody come to this event every month, and you get free beer, which is pretty cool. And that's something you might want. Well, Kurt, oh, there you are. And that might be something that you want to do as well. You might want to think of having a monthly thing or maybe a training, because you do the gamble stuff, and you have a huge following on the social media.
Yeah.
There are some industry like tavern get-togethers. They're not sponsored by anybody in particular, but there is a community that does that, but it's mostly people who've been around for a while.
Yeah. Yep, that's about the size of it. Yep.
But the trainings in a school kind of thing, I don't know if I have the bandwidth to run a school, but the trainings might be a good way to kind of get some of that going.
Right. Hey, excuse me, guys. Ken Porter, are you around? Are you there? Are you in the sound of my voice? Maybe. Up there he is. Well, I wanted, seeing you're in the room now, I could, not that you're in the room now that I could do this, but I wanted to let you guys know, nobody seemed to mention that Tina is not in the room today. Tina is no longer with Soundbroker. Tina is, Friday was Tina's last day with Soundbroker. And now I am in a position where I am free to make the changes that I've been wanting to make for a long time. So we are going to be making some changes at Soundbroker. We already made the changes, and now we're implementing them. One of the things that I'm going to be actively doing right now is searching for an equity partner. So, I've been doing this a long time, and if we can get somebody else involved in Soundbroker right now to help build up the business, right now, Soundbroker has been, to quote Minnie Minoso, it's been very, very good to me, very, very good to me, But now the time, I haven't done any advertising whatsoever in over 15 years. And I don't really need to do any advertising to continue with the flow that we have. My reputation for the last 27 years, if I may say so myself, is spotless. There's not a soul on the planet that can say that I fucked him, except for this girl that I spoke with last night on the phone. She can say that. But other than that, no one can say that I fucked him. No one. You get what you pay for with Soundbroker, and I've been doing it now for 27 years. So when someone says to me, well, I heard about you, but I've never worked with you. Do you have any references? I say, just call the top 5 companies you do business with, and I'm sure that I've done business with all of them over the years. So, and if not, there's always somebody that I have. So we're actually now, I have a mouse in my pocket, I guess, or myself. I'm actively looking for an equity partner, somebody to come in and say, hey, I see what you've got. I could bring it to the next level. And so that's what we're looking for. I have a meeting scheduled next Friday, with someone who has expressed some interest, and he might very well get involved. So if you know of anybody who is sitting around doing nothing or is doing plenty and wants to enhance their life experience, then they might want to reach out to me and talk to me about getting involved with Soundbroker. But right now we're doing great. I mean, it's like, we just sold, but believe it or not, I couldn't sell your stuff, your Melody box, but I just sold a huge Milo rig.
No, you couldn't sell a Milo rig.
Well, I just sold one. Unbelievable.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, I just sold one. Unbelievable. I mean, but it was dirt cheap. I mean, really, it was, it's pretty cheap. I gotta, so the reality is that there are people buying stuff. It's all about money. When you're dealing in the used marketplace, it's all about money. If it's priced low enough, people will buy it. If it's priced too high, people will think about it and then, ask a million questions and walk away. But the reality is right now in the used gear market, money talks and bullshit walks. And that's all there is to it. And people are looking for a deal. They're always looking for a deal. And a deal is usually something that you look for, but you never find. In this case, though, there are plenty of deals to be had. And, so I lost my train of thought somewhere. I was going somewhere else, but all right. So somebody else chip in here, and while I can gather my thoughts. Wayne, you're usually good at distracting me. Good.
Well, on the land of secondhand equipment, as you say, Jan, there's particularly in regional areas of Australia, I mean, there's not many buyers. So if you've got older equipment, the only way you can sell it, it's got to be cheap. But I have to say, Kurt, I tried to sell you, I think they were your Mayer boxes. I was suggesting to one of the fellas that owns equipment here in town that they were good value. I think they might have been they were on your website, Jan, but I thought they were Kurt's.
It's very possible.
Yep, they were.
Yes, and I thought they were good value. I think it was the 12 one. Was it the double 12? I think.
Yeah, the Milos.
Yeah, the Milos. Because I thought they were reasonable priced, and he had access to getting, transport, put them in containers. But, you're not going to buy a system. What were they? You're not going to buy anything new, anything like those prices. And, there just isn't the work here. You have to buy it and own it here.
No, it's the same everywhere. I mean, it depends on, what I tell people is this. If you're looking to sell your gear, you have to figure out who's going to be the buyer. What type of class of person is going to be the buyer? Is it going to be a church? Is it going to be another sound company? I mean, in other words, if you're selling, let's say, 10-year-old boxes, you're not going to be selling them to an A company. You're not going to be selling them to PRG. You're not going to be selling them to Clare Brothers. That's not what's going to happen. You're not going to sell, Kurt is not going to buy your 15-year-old boxes. Ken Porter's not going to buy your 15-year-old boxes. But, so that's not your marketplace. You're looking for a company that's just getting started, somebody who's doing a fair, somebody's doing an outdoor event, something like that. And that's how you have to figure what it is. Well, listen, we're at the point right now where we're ready to say goodbye to those people that were listening. So if there's anybody that has anything that they want to say to the world, now is the time to say it.
I'm getting off. I'm going to say goodbye to you guys and say hello to my family. So,
all right, okay. David, it's good to see you soon.
Have a great week, David.
Stay safe, stay healthy, and remember, you make it happen. Kurt, anything you want to say? Ken, anybody who wants to say anything at all to those people that are out there in TV land, to say the least?
Don't let the craziness get you down.
All right, don't let crazy. All right, so let me say this. Listen, everybody, thanks for watching. Remember, you make it happen. This has been our 219th episode together. Next week will be 220. I can count by one for sure. And I will be here, and we will be doing this. So take care. Remember to share the show. Let's see. Click the like button, share the show. And thanks for watching, and thanks for coming. And thanks for being part of my life. I really appreciate it all. Without you, I would be sitting here spouting whatever comes off the top of my mind alone. This way I have other insane followers as well that come along and, say what's on their mind as well, too. So I love it. And those people that are participating in the panel, we love you. And I have a mouse in my pocket. So with that in mind, remember, you make it happen. Stay safe and healthy. And we will see you again next week at the same time and same place. Bye for now.